It's happening again. The New York Mets collapse is complete, and for the Mets, the offseason has begun. Lots of questions loom, and a familiar story and challenge will now present itself. Here we go again. I am Adam Choit, your host for today here on Mets Digest. And before we dig in on all that, I just want to give you guys a quick heads up, a quick reminder to please subscribe. Because as you can see, nearly 68% of you guys watching these videos are not subscribed. So please take a quick second to do that. It is appreciated for sure. Thank you. Let's dig into it. Well, Pete Alonso has opted out of free agency, as you guys all saw and heard a few minutes after the game this past Sunday, the final game of the season for the Mets. He mentioned that this would be the case, and it is official. Pete Alonso will become a free agent, and he will be testing the market. The fans are already starting to react to this, of course. Here's Dan Bartel's a petition to make Pete Alonso a Met for life. One like equals one signature. This is not an official petition or anything like that. And I think last I saw it did have about 5,000 likes for whatever that's worth, probably more than that. I'm sure there's going to be more campaigns like this to come because like myself, I'm sure many of Mets fans, most Mets fans, the high majority, would like to see Pete return, are desperate to see Pete return, love Pete. He's the all-time leader in home runs, the franchise leader in home runs, and we want Pete back. This is Howie Rose's daughter, of course, Alyssa. I forgot what it was like to spend every waking moment of the day thinking about Pete Alonso coming back. 0 out of 10. No fun to be had. Yeah. Sleeper Mets account here. There is absolutely no way you let Pete Alonso walk this offseason. He needs to be a Met for life. I agree. David Stearns on Pete Alonso. If Pete is a great Met. He had a fantastic year. I said this last year, and it worked out. I'd love to have Pete back. The tone seems similar from David Stearns last year compared to this year. So let's hope that we're able to strike a deal, that the Mets are able to strike a deal once again with Alonso this offseason. Let's dig more into the story itself here. This is from Mark Feinsand, MLB.com. I have a bunch of quotes from his piece. He had a good piece there. Definitely want to check that out. There are two key factors to consider when assessing Alonso's value compared to a year ago. First, his performance this season was superior to 2024 when he hit 34 home runs with 88 RBIs, 31 doubles, and a 788 OPS over 162 games. His power numbers on StatCast this season were dominant as he ranked in the top 5% of the league in average exit velocity, barrel percentage, and hard hit percentage, taking big leaps in all three categories from the prior year. Perhaps more important than his on-field performance, Alonso was not eligible to receive a qualifying offer this offseason, so he won't have any draft pick compensation attached to him as he seeks the long-term contract that evaded him last winter. Not having the qualifying offer will be huge for him, an American League executive said. Teams that might not have considered him last year may think differently now. So the market will be a little bit expanded. He's going to get more money, and the market will be expanded, and the interest will be a little bit higher this upcoming offseason compared to last offseason when he was a free agent. That is definitely something to look out for. It is going to be an even bigger, more challenging situation for the Mets to retain Alonso, but we will have to continue to monitor this as we move forward in the offseason. In addition to the possibility of a return to the Mets, there should be a number of teams interested in Alonso, unlike last year when the free agent market included star hitters, including Juan Soto, Alex Bregman, Anthony Santander, and Willy Adames. This year's class is led by Kyle Tucker, Schwarber, and Bo Bichette, and potentially Bregman again if he chooses to opt out of his deal with the Red Sox, leaving fewer pure power threats to compete with. Perhaps more important than his off-field performance, Alonso was not eligible to receive a qualifying. Did I read that one already? Yep. It'll be similar to last year, but there are also fewer big bats options available this winter than there were last winter, so there may be more teams willing and able to give him what he wants. An NL executive said, it's interesting because he is a year older, but also a year deeper into his career, and he has continued to produce, so that could cut either way. I think he ends up doing better than last winter at the end of the day, but it's hard to say how much better. In addition to what he brings to the plate, Alonso has been a terrific Met off the field. and is beloved by most of the fan base and has repeatedly expressed a desire to, over the last few seasons, to remain in New York if Alonso's market doesn't get out of control. And there's really no reason to expect it will. It makes all the sense in the world for the Mets to bring him back, to make a strong effort to bring him back. That is Danny Abriano for Yahoo Sports. It will make even more sense for the Mets to reunite with Alonso if he's open to starting to transition to DH, designated hitter, in the coming seasons, which would allow the team a greater emphasis on defense at first base. In the meantime, they can seek to improve their defense by focusing on third base, second base, and center field. Danny Abriano, Yahoo Sports. That's kind of really hits the nail on the head for me. I just tend to think of these off seasons and situation as, I mean, maybe this is an oversimplification, but let's keep our best players and improve where there are weaknesses. The Mets can definitely upgrade in certain areas. If we're looking at Jeff McNeil, is going to be a name that's certainly talked about a lot. He's a versatile player and he brings a lot to the table. But the fact that he slumped towards the end of the year and the last 30, 40 at bats, and he finished with a 788 OPS, which is solid. But can the Mets upgrade from that? Can they do better? It's definitely worth looking into. Like I mentioned in the last video, no stone will be left unturned. Certainly when it comes to the Mets exploring ways to improve the club. Here's a look at Pete Alonso's numbers, just a little refresher, a little reminder of what we've been lucky to have for the last several years since 2019 with Alonso. Just solid, pretty darn consistent, pretty damn consistent over the seasons. This type of player does not grow on trees. This sort of consistency, this sort of power, this sort of presence in the lineup, and like I mentioned in various forms in those pieces, Alonso is much more important to the Mets beyond just what he brings on the field in terms of production. He's a team leader. He is a Met. He bleeds blue and orange. He loves the fans. He loves New York. He embraces the community, and his presence in the lineup is just exactly that. It is a presence that makes everyone better and offers more protection for Soto and the rest of the team. You got to bring Pete back. You just have to. And I wanted to share one more thing about Alonso here, because I don't think this is something that's really talked about or mentioned a lot. But let's take a look at this right here, which is his postseason numbers. Limited sample size, small sample size, 54 at bats here. But then you got some walks too. So, about, what do we got here? 68 plate appearances here. And he has been a very productive playoff performer for the Mets. His OPS, again, small sample size, is significantly higher than his career OPS during the regular season. We're talking about 150 points here. That's just one more notch on Pete Alonso's belt. Of course, he hit one of the most famous home runs in the history of the franchise, the homer versus the Brewers that sent the Mets to the next round of the playoffs in 2024, which now at this point seems ages ago. And we'll have plenty more to come on Mets Digest in terms of exploring free agency and Pete Alonso's free agency as this story continues to evolve and news breaks and whatnot. And we'll dig into the rest of the team and what areas need improvement and who's out there and what's out there for the Mets to do to improve the team. But what do you guys think? Will the Mets keep Alonso? Can they keep Alonso? What type of contract is he going to receive ultimately from the Mets or some other team once he does sign with someone? But let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, comment below, share your thoughts, and let's go Mets.